Hey everyone, I just want to give you guys a sneak peek at this interview that I had with Benjamin Burr. He is the executive director for the Blue Ribbon Coalition. And this is on my new radio show called Talking Off Road. And Talking Off Road airs on Sunday, on the second Sunday of every month. And so the one coming up is November 12th. It's from 12 to 1. And it is aired on the San Diego KCBQ 96.1 FM and or 1170 AM. It covers all of San Diego and much of Southern California. It can also be viewed on my YouTube channel, Talking Off Road, and then also it can be heard on the podcast, Talking Off Road, which is on YouTube Music. And then also, if you go to the radio channel, KCBQ, on their website, you can also listen to the podcast. So here's just a short clip of my interview with Ben, give you a little bit of a teaser, talk to you about what's going on in Moab, and you're going to want to listen to the whole interview once it's released. Thank you. Well, welcome to Talking Off-Road with Mike McGarity. This show is dedicated to the off-road enthusiasts who want to keep our off-road riding areas open, as well as to the business sponsors and the clubs who support the advocacy groups. These groups work on everyone's behalf, and I would argue that we are the true environmentalists. So I'm joined with Ben Burr. He's the executive director of the Blue Ribbon Coalition. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
Great. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us what's happening in Moab.
Yeah, so in Moab, a little over a week ago, we had the Bureau of Land Management release a final plan for the Labyrinth Rims, Gemini Bridges travel management area. But this is basically everything west of the highway as you're coming south into Moab from I-70 all the way to the Green River. So this is a 300,000 acres of some of the best riding areas in Moab. So if you've ever made that road trip and spent several days or a week or however long out exploring those backcountry trails, the big deep canyon overlooks, going into the bottoms of the deep canyons, all these amazing campsites we found out there. That whole area was reanalyzed by the BLM through what they call a travel planning process. And through that process, with a huge amount of pressure from the environmental groups and the current administration, they decided to close 317 miles. And some of these are some of the best off-road routes on the planet, is what I've been saying, because they really are world-class destination where people come from, certainly California, but as far away as Australia, Europe, Africa. I mean, people are coming from all over the world to wheel Moab. And this was a huge punch in the gut to the off-road community. And really, I think anyone who is interested in any form of outdoor recreation in this area, just about everyone got hurt by this plan, except for probably the river rafters. We're on a clock dictated by a legal settlement that the Blue Ribbon Coalition, the Wilderness Society, the Southern Utah Wilderness Alliance, and the Department of Interior entered into in 2017, which was the culmination of a lawsuit that had gone back clear to 2008, which was a culmination of a process that went back to 2003. So when people are like, how did this happen all of a sudden in Moab? I'm like, this has been happening for 20 years that they've been fighting for this. And they finally got the right political alignment in Washington where they could get it done, and they pushed it through. And it'll keep going because we're going to challenge this plan in court. We know there are others looking at the same thing. We know the state of Utah is looking very hard at challenging this, because I think the BLM got it really wrong, but it was part of this legal settlement. They were required to do these plans again. And there's a whole bunch of other plans in Utah that they're also doing the same process with. And that's our other problem with this, is it sets a really terrible precedent that if any other user group doesn't, there were a lot of trails they closed here just because the folks who are out paddling a raft on the river said they didn't even want to see an off-road vehicle, that ruins their experience. And BLM actually agreed with that argument and closed routes because of that. And so that's just a terrible slippery slope. We don't know where that ends. And aside from that, there's a lot of other reasons we'll be fighting this in court.
Sure. So what actions can people take right now?
Yeah, so right now, everyone wants to know what they can do to help in Moab. And
all right, so that was a short teaser from Ben Burr, executive director. Tune in November 12th, or check out my YouTube channel, Talking Off Road, to hear the full interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and thank you for your interest in the show. Appreciate you.